I promised you all a teardown of this Stirling engine in my last video, and well, I'm going to tell you up front right now, so if you don't want to watch the rest of this video, we can't tear it down for two reasons. One of them is this joint right here has been glued, and that right there has been glued. You can see that white stuff in there? Yeah. They glued it shut, and in spite of my best efforts, I cannot get it open. Now the good news is that obviously this is glass, so we can see what's going on in here. And this, we can use our basic science skills to determine what's going on inside there. So in the end, we can pretty much show how this thing works. And first, I think we should go over how a regular Stirling engine works, because this one has a couple quirks, and we need to address the differences so that this is clear later on when we get to it. Okay, let's do that. This is a pretty standard Stirling engine, and we can see over here this glass tube, it would normally be the one that was heated, and we can see inside here moving. This is the displacer. The other one has a displacer, but the big difference is this shaft right here. The other one does not have a shaft. This displacer is free floating, and something has to propel it forward and backward. And that is the mystery, is what is doing that, because it's certainly not a shaft. Okay, the similarities are, again, the clear dome out here, the displacer. There's a channel over here that leads to the power piston, and this is where expansion and contraction happens. And through this shaft, it drives the flywheel around. Now, the other engine has not a flywheel, but it has a propeller. So there's got to be something inside that's hidden inside the pedestal that is doing this function of transferring the power from the power piston through to the propeller. Okay, so again, we'll go back and look at that, and we will use our powers of deduction to figure out what's going on. Let's start gathering our data. Notice that when I turn the propeller, the displacer over here moves back and forth. But it moves an irregular amount, and notice it's going out this way. So clearly there's no physical shaft connection that's linking these, because it's kind of a random distance and it's moving away. Also, the instructions tell us to operate this thing on the level, and I think we'll see why in a little bit. But yes, there's something moving the displacer piston that's not a mechanical linkage. And yes, we've already said that. So something probably in here is doing it, and if we remove this, we saw the propeller turn as soon as I moved that, and now the propeller just freewheels. So yeah, something, when this is connected, is creating resistance. So let's see what we can do about this. I have a glass syringe right here, and if I can get it on here, when I pull out on the syringe, the piston in here tries to go out, and when I push in on the syringe, it goes in. Let me see if I need to introduce some air into the syringe first. So we'll start out about 3 milliliters. Get that back on there. Okay, and so when I push, it goes to the back. When I pull, it goes to the front, back, front. So it's kind of the opposite. When I put pressure into the cylinder, the displacer moves back, and when I pull a vacuum on it, it goes forward. Okay, so we know that. Now let's see what else we can find out. If we remove the tube from here and we put it on here, let's see what's going to happen when we turn the propeller. See that? So something inside here is adding pressure and taking it away, adding pressure, taking it away. So basically, I think that what's happening in here is there's a piston a lot like this inside there, and it's being driven by a crankshaft. Okay, so let us do the taking apart we can do and see what's going on. Okay, let's start by removing the propeller. It's just a collet chuck, so we just loosen that, slide it off there. You can see the collet chuck. Then we shall flip this on its side and use my Craftsman 4mm Allen wrench. Alas, poor Sears. I knew you. Okay, so we remove this screw, put it off to the side, take the base off, and you're going to say, is there something going on in there? And the answer is, if I put my thumb over here and do this, there's no suction that I can feel. So, yeah. Yeah, so that's not doing anything for us. And yeah, that's kind of the extent of our disassembly. So, given all the information we have, what do I think is going on? I think this goes into a crankshaft, and that crankshaft moves a connecting rod, which goes to a piston inside here. That piston moves up and down, and it pumps air into here. And then, let's see if I can keep that in focus. Focus, focus. Our cylinders come down. Let's see if I can get it to move out for a little bit. Okay, stay there for a minute. You can see that hole right there. And that hole, I believe, is connected to this. And there comes our displacer again. So what happens is, as the piston in here moves up and down, it pumps air into here. And as we saw with the syringe, that makes the displacer move in and out. As the displacer moves in and out, that causes air to move into here, which either is cooled and contracts, or, well, the air as it comes in here when it's heated. So when the displacer is all the way back like this, the air in here gets hot, and that causes the air pressure in here to rise. And then, of course, as the piston moves around, it forces that displacer out, and so the hot air goes away, and the hot air moves into here, it contracts, and then it creates suction. So basically this chamber is going high pressure, low pressure, high pressure, low pressure, and in the process moving the piston up and down and turning the propeller. Now, if that explanation isn't enough, I will put a link to a detailed description of the function of a Stirling engine, which I have already made a video on. Okay, so that is it for this type of Stirling engine. It's interesting because the displacer is not coupled like, well, all the others that I've ever had. I have seen them that are magnetically coupled, and yeah, but this one isn't even that. This one is just literally coupled by air pressure moving that chamber back and forth. Okay, well, I hope you found that useful and interesting in your Stirling engine explorations.